Previously, assessment really happened in three ways. It still happened in terms of the lesson, in terms of as you're walking around the classroom seeing how students are achieving. It happened through the marking of the books, and it happened through formal assessments, either half-termly or perhaps a little bit more frequent than that.
And we would sit down doing the year 2 stats, and we'd all sit down with our test papers and our pencils, and we'd count up the number of ticks, number of words that the child has read.
Now, in terms of assessment, children are less preoccupied with levels. They're more aware of progress. Within the classroom, we don't necessarily talk explicitly about levels, but we might talk about how well they're doing, how far they've come, the progress they've made in relation to themselves as an individual.
Each class can also choose their own project at some point throughout the year to focus upon what skills they need to work on further. So that's all linked to, again, assessment for learning and assessment of learning.
The half-termly assessments are not as important as before. In fact, they won't happen at set times anymore. Quite often, the students will take them when they think they're ready, and the students will self-assess the success on them. So I, thankfully, have a lot less marking to do at that end of the spectrum. The amount of emphasis put on questioning, both by myself and by the individuals, is helping me and the students understand far better what they've learnt during that lesson. An assessment now will only be a confirmation of what we already know.
The biggest outcome really is being the children seeing themselves as individuals. We always did as teachers, but whether we were able to convey that very well and whether we were able to really make them believe that we weren't comparing them to anyone else is another matter. But I strongly think now that the children do see themselves as an individual and that they're not being judged according to everybody else. So I think there is definitely a much greater self-esteem amongst children because of that, and there's much more support amongst the children as a team because they know that they're not in competition with each other.
And so we do at Kyneton half-termly measure the ability of the students to use these skills of reflection, planning, team building, etc.
It's so much more personal. I look at where the child is now. This is what they've reached. Yes, it's in relation to other children of their own, of similar difficulties. Yes, it's in relation to their peer groups because I have to do that. But I can look at what it is that they've learned and what's the next steps going to be.